Oh, so we're all supposed to die for Sam. She wants us all to die for Sam. I am so sick of these save the white woman at all cost movies. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Fear Street 1994, available right now on Netflix. Now, this is the first part of 3 parts of a movie, and before I get into how promising this started off like, y'all, soon as this came on, I was like, oh, look at all this homage. Me as a horror fan, I was all up into it. But towards the end, before we get into that, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things Saving Sam. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. I did not look up one director, one writer. This film had me at the trailer. Soon as I saw 1994, me as a 90s kid, I was all up in here for it. The trailer was giving me rated R, but you know, Are You Afraid of the Dark, goosebumps, nostalgia. Like, I was all here for it. Now, I did see that this is from, you know, the R.L. Stein universe, aka Mr. Goosebumps himself. But we were, you know, taking a heavier approach with this and, you know, having a little bit of a stronger content rather than, you know, some slappy. I was here for it. And then, you know, even just with the letterhead and the title, just the Fear Street 1994 even, you know, is very reminiscent of, you know, A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was so much here going for this film, and then as soon as it comes on, they hit you with 90s nostalgia music instantly. They literally had me at Closer by 9 Inch Nails. I was all into it. They found the right person to give this film to. But then they went and messed it up. They literally had so much going for it, especially with that opening scene where we get, you know, this stereotypical young teenage girl alone at work, shopping malls, dark scenario, like, oh, you know, a little creep factor with the neon lights. Like, the setting was really nice here, like the coloring and the cinematography going on in the film. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the tints and tones of this film. But we open with her, and as soon as we get to that, like, that slasher element, it was very much, you know, giving me, you know, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, a little bit of, you know, Halloween. Like, oh my God, I was like, oh, you know, this is becoming a thing. I'm really tired of movies opening, especially horrors, opening so well, you know, with so much, you know, it's just so grand. You're like, oh, it can only get better from here. What? Y'all giving me 90s music? Giving me 90s horror movies, Scream ass nostalgia with your little mask, hooded killer, chasing the girl around with a knife, about to stab her, will they, won't they, slitting oh, no. Even like, you know, the setting. What's a horror movie without its setting? You know, we have that typical small town, you know, Sunnyvale versus shady side, you know, the rich side versus, you know, the little lower class side, the devils and the witches. That whole premise of, you know, the devil witches football team, jocks and cheerleaders, like that little back and forth band turning, that just lacks feeling of the town, you know, especially the teenagers when someone dies. And it was very much giving me Scream, you know, like, we don't take it serious or give it a second thought until, you know, it's happening to us. It's just a running gag in the town. There's always someone dying here, and, you know, there's talk of, you know, witchcraft in the town kind of being cursed and all of this death surrounding everything. The premise was there. Everything was so great. But then we push to the side this whole premise, the atmosphere, the scenario, to opt for LGBTQ representation. Now, with that being said, I am all here for representation. I'm loving that it's not just being passe and shunned and hid in the background, and all different dynamics of, relationships and love and choices and sexual preferences aren't being, pushed under the rug. Like, no, we're only going to show, women, men, gender, the natural. Cool. All here for that. But you're not gonna mess up my heart for it, though. They literally threw everything away and focused so much on our main protagonist and her love for this Sam character. Now, we meet this family. We're introduced to Josh, who was a very great character here, her brother, who's, that typical kind of weird, quirky neighborhood teenager who's really, really invested in the town's history. Why does all these things could happen? You have this murderer, this seemingly, ordinary, plain, working in the mall kid who just out of nowhere becomes a murderer, and he feels like, it's a running theme of, people being possessed. And, we have a balance of really great things to focus on. We have, the 90s era. We have this great backdrop of all the, it was really wearing me out because, boy, they were squeezing them damn songs in there. And I was over there singing. I was like, oh, yeah. I'm supposed to be watching. We have that. We have a really good balance of, the mysterious elements there with, the witches and the devil and the jocks and the cheerleaders and what's really going on in this town. What's looming under the surface, what shit's going to pop off. What's, possessing these people? When can we have these nice, little flashback moments. But once we are really digging into our protagonist and we realize, her brother, says this and that, and, stop obsessing over Sam. I'm like, y'all couldn't, to hit the damn nail on the head any harder for us to know that this young lady was gay and Sam was a girl. Like, who was this? Like, who wrote this? Who wrote this and when? Because it was just they tried to do the little switcheroo. Like, oh, is it the jock? No, it's a girl. Yeah, I knew that. You have her looming the halls. She's kind of a little tomboyish. She's roaming the halls, scoffing at, every single relationship, girl, boy, get the hell out of my locker. And I also love her two best friend characters here. They really take time to get us invested in them, give them, nice little, backstories and senses of humor. You have, the silly mascot boy, and, he has the great one-liners and really funny. And you have backstory of him, taking care of his household, blah, blah, blah. And then you have, the A student, the valedictorian cheerleader type, yet she's selling drugs at the school, and she has her whole little agenda going on, and the nice babysitting scenes, and there's more than what meets the eye with her. It was really nice. I was really invested. But once we got to learning that, of course, Sam was a girl and you have that whole jealousy thing with her, and her feeling like she opted to, be a part of the upper echelons and, just leave us behind. And this is always what, you're going and you're leaving me pretending to be someone that you're not. It solely becomes so much just about that. And I was like, I don't think we needed as much of that to get the story that we wanted. It was as if they used that particular, their love story to just, push everything else in the story along, which, this is, the first part of, a 3-part type of movie situation. And I'm guessing, everything, of course, is connected. But just here, it just really feels short of us focusing so much solely on that. And I was almost, kind of wishing, I was like, she couldn't, the witch couldn't possess anybody else. Did it have to be her? Because now it's all strictly about Sam. From the time that, we have that really great moment of them, and I thought, that was going to escalate to something, and we was going to have, a tale of the two towns, people going at it. But no, we just turned into, them throwing beers at the bus and her throwing a cooler, and Sam accidentally, spilling her blood, attaching herself to the witch, and to, all the people who have died and been possessed in the town, courtesy of the witch, ghost, following Sam, trying to capture her and kill her. I was like, we couldn't get nobody else. But at that point, everything that was, alluring me to the story, it just all just went, and it was just all about Sam, saving Private Sam. We just had to save Sam. Now, I was all for this. I said to myself as a horror fan, I hope it does not come to the point where everybody just has to die for Sam to live. And I was just waiting for the moment for Sam to be captured, or for the witch or whomever to actually possess her and have, our protagonist have to make this, big decision of, do we kill Sam? Do we try to save her? She's fucking shit up. I thought that's where we were going. No, we go on this whole wild goose chase of, her thinking that, her boyfriend is, got some really great shots, some real great Halloween shots, him standing outside the house, holding the knife, and her. I was like, this is good, y'all. How y'all gonna give me all this homage and then just throw the shit out the door? Well, we have all of that going on, but once she actually goes to the hospital and, we realize, oh, it's not, some clothed boyfriend, it's actually the same guy from the mall. So, of course he was shot in the head in the beginning. So for all we know, he's come back. He's possessed. Of course, there's a higher entity. The little brother is right. We have that going on. We even have, little cute moments courtesy of him thrown in, because he has a crush on the best friend. Hell, I'm glad that was there, because without that, it just would have been the fucking Sam show. But once we leave that and, they're on the run and it's, love conquers all type thing. But at, this point we have, goals continuing, to chase them. And then once they all realize, oh, all the goals are after Sam. And we have, that last really great scene. I love when they try to, let's, put the bones back where they had it and lay them to rest and, ease the spirit. I really like that scene. That was the last of what I liked. Because once we got, into the ghosts actually coming and us realizing that they were only there for Sam, it was like, oh, okay, they're just going to bypass everyone. So their life was never actually in jeopardy. But prior to that, we do have, ghosts and certain, possessed things, killing things on its way to Sam. So I was like, why did they have to kill him? Hey, I ain't judging. It's your movie. But at that point, nothing was attacking everybody else. It was all about Sam. So when we get to, the revelation of everybody kind of putting their life in jeopardy, and they're like, no, everybody's after her. We've tried, to lay the spirits and all this shit to rest. We've tried to burn them. They came right back. Let's just let her go. And proceeded, to hold our little protagonist back while Sam went out, on to the wolves. I was like, yeah, let's see where this goes. Let her ass go, because we not finna die. Like, no. We ain't like Sam like that. But no, we find a way to pull her back in and jeopardize everyone's fucking life. Like, why? We did not need it to go this right. So we get, to our climax of the movie, and, everybody like, no, Sam, we're in this together. Like, y'all was just ready to sacrifice her ass less than 2 minutes ago, but whatever. And then we have, stupid, really decision making in movies. Like, everybody's splitting up, and it was just so predictable and so lackluster from the, that strong starting point that we had to get here and have literally all of them cover themselves. I swear Sam's little hand had everlasting blood, because she could fill up a mop bucket. It was enough to put X on people's chests and rub it all over the goddamn store. Okay. But after we, have done all of that, and I was just waiting, like, how are they going to make it out of this? What is the climax going to be? Everyone that we literally took any fucking interest in the story died. I was like, what? The best thing we had about those moments was, the sheriff who was acting like, they were crazy and he didn't know what's going on, and I don't believe this, and blah, blah, blah. And you have him, leave a note to someone saying, it's happening again. There's that lingering mystery of who that is. And of course, that mysterious phone call we have, from the survivor. And that's where we get, the little moment of, I'm going to kill you and bring you back. Of course, I'm going to save you and all of this. I'm just like, they had to die for that, though? Like, we had to see little boo-boo get put through the meat shredder and it almost looked like she was just about to let her brother get straight axed just because she wanted to save Sam, kill her and bring her back. Like, no, go get your brother. This is your brother, right? So once we get to our ending and, you know, we finally do realize that, you know, she's not going to get her happily ever after with Sam. I was like, even here for, you know, when everything was over and they give their statements to the policeman. And it's like, yeah, you know, if you guys don't, you know, tell us what's going on, this is all going to fall on your friends. And like, yeah, well, we're just going to let them take the fall. Cause like, oh, just fuck the friends, huh? But I guess we were, you know, supposed to feel something with, Sam finally, you know, kind of coming out to, you know, her mom and saying, you don't you ever talk to her again? You never. She's like, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you, babe. I was like, all right. I would have felt it even harder if she, after all that shit, she was just like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't talk to you anymore. Bye. That she would have took me out. But, you know, this is not that kind of movie. But we end, you know, all happily in the bed and cuddling and all this stuff. Brother still, you know, doing his usual, at which we have Sam, you know, come back mixed up a phone call to go, you know, it doesn't end until she says so. You think you won, but you didn't. You don't control anything. This is all, you know, the doing of the witch. And, you know, we have more flashes and all of this, at which we have Sam come back all possessed and whatnot and stabs her. And we cut away and somehow she, you know, wraps her up in a telephone cord and says, you know, I'm going to save you. I'm going to get you back. You're still in there. Yeah. I have a lot more faith in the 1978 because I can vibe with, you know, the 70s and horror. It's very much giving me Camp Crystal Lake, you know. I can't wait to get into that part because this part right here, Well, you guys, that was my review for Fear Street. As you can see, I have really conflicted feelings about this. You know, I really liked it. You know, starting off the themes, the 90s, the nostalgia, the homage to all the, you know, the great 90s little serial killer films and all, you know, even stuff, you know, beyond that, which I'm sure we'll get into a lot more of that. I feel like, you know, this is a grower. And the second part and the third part are really going to give me what I need versus this here just being so focused on Sam and us sacrificing ourselves for Sam. No. But, you know, you guys comment below. Tell me what you thought about the film. Tell me if you were getting your life in the Fear Street. And, you know, we'll get the conversation going. I will be watching the second one really soon. So hopefully maybe Sunday I can give you a review for that if you guys, you know, are interested in that. Even if you're not, I'm going to review it anyway because, you know, that's just what I do. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.